Red Sox Phillies, are we looking at a possible World Series preview? Hey everybody, it's Paulie. Welcome back to This Week in Red, where we're talking Red Sox and all things Major League Baseball. And you know, in the past I've spoken about how I'm not the biggest fan of interleague play. I think that there's too much of it and that I think it should be pared back a little. But there are situations where I do think it's worthwhile, and certainly Red Sox versus Phillies is one of them. I mean, we're looking at a possible World Series preview here. You know, I think these teams, unless something really weird happens, that there's an injury bug on either one of these teams, I really do believe these are the two best teams in each league, and that they are on a collision course for October, and that they will represent their respective leagues in the World Series. So this week, the three games in Philadelphia are going to be key to see what we might be looking forward to in October. You know, there's not a lot of differences between these teams. They both have great lineups. You know, the Phillies, if you look at them, the heart of their order is Victorino, Utley, Rollins, and Ryan Howard. I mean, those are four of the best in the business. And one underrated guy in that lineup that every time I see this guy, he's getting base hits in key situations, Carlos Ruiz, their catcher. He is an outstanding player, doesn't get a lot of press, but he is a very dangerous hitter. And then you look at the Red Sox lineup. We all know it very well. We know what their core is. Pedroia, Youkilis, Gonzalez, Ortiz. They all make great contributions. You got Jacoby Ellsbury at the top of the lineup, getting on base a lot. So when you look at runs scored, you know, they're the top two teams in their respective leagues. Scoring runs, they're at the top of each league, I should say. Pitching staffs, we all know about the Phillies pitching staff. They've got four horses: Halladay, Lee, Oswalt, and Hamels. It's very hard for teams to match that. But if there's one team that can, it's the Red Sox, where you've got Lester, Beckett, Buchholz. And I hate to say it because I'm not his biggest fan, but Tim Wakefield, he's done an outstanding job for the Red Sox this year. Now, whether he could carry that through into September and October, that's an argument for another day. But for right now, he's doing a great job, and he's helping the Red Sox match up with the Phillies, no problem in that department. But the one area where I do see a difference is the bullpen. And end of game is a big concern for the Phillies. They do not have their closer, Brad Lidge. He's out for the season, and even when they did have him, he's been a very shaky closer since he entered a Phillies uniform. He was very solid with the Astros, and he was outstanding when the Phillies did win it all in 2008, where he had 54 saves, and I believe he was MVP of the World Series that year. I have to check that, but I think that's the case. But now he's out, so Ryan Madson is closing games. And if you know anything about Ryan Madson, as a setup man, he was kind of shaky with the Phils. He does a good job for the most part, but he has these games where he kind of blows up. Red Sox, on the other hand, with Jonathan Papelbon and Daniel Bard closing games out at the end, that's a big advantage because Papelbon is the old Papelbon and not the guy we saw last year. So I think at end of game, that's where the Red Sox have a slight advantage. But you know what? The Phillies will be okay for the rest of the season because their problems that they may have in the bullpen, they're not going to show up until the playoffs, where all these games are close and starting pitching is matched through the first 7 innings, and the last 2 innings are the key parts. That's where the Phillies might stumble. So if you look at these 3 games coming up, look for the final couple of innings in each of these games. That's going to determine who is better in these 3 games. No question about it. But what do you guys think? What do you think are the keys to the Philly-Red Sox series coming up? And do you think that we will indeed see these two teams in the World Series in October? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and tell all your friends about This Week in Red.